Two heartbreaking magical losses. Chucky may have some competition. The combination of Morgan's two favorite things, Will Ferrell and A Christmas Carol. She-Hulk smashes more than the fourth wall. And does evil in fact die tonight? Award-worthy more performances and robots in film. We get into all of it. Welcome to the madness. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Monday Madness. Hello, Morgan.
Hello, the machine. Yes.
See, I did it this time.
You did do it this time. Oh my God! What a ram-packed show we have today.
Yes, a lot. There's a lot happening. A lot to discuss.
Full of all kinds of craziness, because all kinds of craziness has happened, has come out, has needing to be talked about. That didn't make grammatical sense at all, but
it's okay.
It's
I
true.
understood. Yes.
It's very, very, very true. But yeah, so I mean, we're all okay. We are all a little bit sad because of a couple of recent passings.
Yeah.
But we're going to have fun today. We've got I would say, a busier show than usual, and we usually have a pretty busy show in terms of what we want to talk about. But there's an awful lot, as you said in your delightfully paced intro, Jeannine, I must say, that comes with my visual aids of reactions to
yes, you did very
whatever's
good.
going on.
Yeah.
We have a whole lot to talk about. I don't even know where to possibly begin. Sad passings away, new trailers, a couple of reviews, our horror awards, let's talk, our robot-focused game. We're going to get into it all right about now. Should I ask the question to start us off?
Do it.
So, Jeannine,
A lot is up, Morgan.
A lot. Yes. Yes. What are we starting with? Should we start with the big stuff, or should we start with the perhaps little bit of a smaller discussion? I don't know.
Let's build to the bigger things, I think.
Build to the bigger things. Okay.
Yes.
What should we start with then? What do you want to talk about first?
Let's get the sadness out of the way.
Sadness. Okay.
Yes. So we did lose Angela Lansbury and Robbie Coltrane recently.
Yes.
Two very magical figures in film. Very talented, very beloved. Played some amazing characters that we've all kind of loved over the years. So yeah, it was really, really tough losing them from this world, but they live on in all of the things we love.
Of course they do. I mean, two incredibly significant people in my childhood. Robbie Coltrane, obviously for Hagrid reasons.
Yes.
But Angela
Bond
Lansbury
reasons as well,
and Bond reasons as well. Yes. Angela Lansbury. Although I'm not necessarily watching Golden Eyes as a 7-year-old.
No.
I am watching Harry Potter at that age, so that makes a little more childhood sense. But Angela Lansbury, mainly for me as a child, from Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yes, that's the first thing I ever saw her in.
It is one of my very, very favourite movies ever, and will continue to be so. But
good.
You say it right. Both just wonderfully magical people on screen, because I think Miss Price from Bedknobs and Broomsticks is one of movie history's great witches.
Yes.
And Angela Lansbury was just unbelievable. I mean, in terms of longevity and range and just awards quality and stage, screen, absolutely all of it. Angela Lansbury is one of the icons of 20th century show business, it has to be said.
Yes,
because of just all she accomplished. It's a ridiculous amount of work.
Long runs in Sweeney Todd and so many great movies. And I kind of have gone back and delving into. We actually covered some of her older films on the channel, which I was just really excited to see because I had never, when we covered Gaslight on the show, it was great kind of
Yeah,
seeing her pop up because,
her
she's
first
one of
ever
those.
role.
Yes, I think for most people, she's one of those actresses who were introduced to them at a very specific time in her lives. So people only really know her from Murder She Wrote and Mrs.
Yeah,
Potts.
yeah.
And that's kind of the biggest things for them. So to kind of delve back into, later in earlier in her career, was really special to get to see her in Gaslight. And then we recently covered her on The Picture of Dorian Gray as
Well, that's
well.
yeah, that I mean, that's
That's
actually
coming up.
gonna
Yeah.
be this Friday's episode of the main show, which was
Yeah.
recorded before she passed. So we kind of have
Yeah.
no idea. I mean, it's that I think The Picture of Dorian Gray was her second ever movie.
Yes, and she was gorgeous, and she gets to sing, and she was just so lovely in that, and her performance is just so there's just a moment in there where she, has to just act very kind of hurt and stunned, and the way she just
Yeah.
plays that so well, and she was amazing. And I actually watched a new film of hers today, which I hope we can eventually cover on the show, A Life at Stake. And it's kind of a
Okay.
noir film. So it's great kind of seeing her in that vein after knowing her as kind of like this sweet older lady, is kind of, what most people kind of know her as. So to kind of see her in her younger years playing kind of these noir kind of temptress roles is very kind of fun.
Well,
And
yeah,
even
is
in
it,
in something like Gaslight being this kind of sassy, kind of, you know,
yeah.
very hard and rude, kind of snobbish character. Um,
I
you
mean, she's
know.
kind of like that. She's kind of evil in is it State of the Union?
Yes. Or no,
She's
or Manchurian Candidate. Oh, yes, The
she's
State
in
of the
Manchurian
Union
Candidate
and
as well,
Manchurian
yeah.
Candidate as well. Yeah, mhm. Which I think we also
State
covered.
of
I
the
think did we
Union.
do a deja
Both of them.
vu? Yeah, and State
Both
of
the
the Union.
Manchurian Candidate and State of the Union have also been covered
Yeah,
on the main show.
yeah.
But I do remember 'cause State of the Union we watched not that long ago. I do remember it just being horrible in that movie. Just the
Yes.
the 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 worst type of person corrupting Spencer Tracy. We don't like that, but we love the
Yes.
fact that it comes from Angela Lansbury.
Trying to steal somebody's man, like, she's hardcore.
You
Um,
don't steal Spencer from Catherine.
no,
That's what
not on
that's
screen
what
anyway.
Angela Lansbury's trying to do in that movie.
Yeah, I think the sweetest character we've probably covered is her character in, The Picture of Dorian Gray and Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks, of course. I mean, she's just wholesome perfection
Yes.
in
I mean,
Bedknobs and
technically,
Broomsticks.
we've covered Beauty and the Beast as well, so we have
True.
run the
It is
gamut
true.
of great, Angela Lansbury roles on the channel, so I'm glad we
Certainly,
were
there's
able to do
plenty
that.
more we could have done
Yes, I
and
mean,
probably will do.
Beauty and the Beast, is kind of a legendary thing of her, only doing that song in one take and getting it perfect,
Yeah.
and that's what we heard in the film. She was like, "Oh, do you need me to do it again?" Nope, it was perfect. It was
Just
absolutely
the
perfect.
emotion
Yeah.
that comes from her in that song. And look, we could wax lyrical about Angela Lansbury for half an hour, but we
Yeah.
have a frightening amount to talk about today.
Yes, yes, yes,
But
but
Angela
yes.
Lansbury means a great deal to a great many people, and certainly to us.
Yes, and just it was great the day of, Robbie Coltrane's passing, everyone kind of just, sharing that moment that he talked about in the Harry Potter special, where,
Yeah,
he was like, the next generation will discover Harry Potter films like 50 years from now. I sadly won't be here, but Hagrid will be. And just, seeing how much he loved that character and how much he knew it meant to people, meant a lot to him because, his kids were growing up as he was doing those films. And love that he is leaving that behind, such a beloved character like that, and that he was happy to be remembered for something like that. It's not like a Harrison Ford situation. He'll be annoyed if he's only remembered for Han Solo,
yes, Robbie
It's
Coltrane
he loved his
loved
iconic
Hagrid.
character.
He did,
Yes, yeah,
and he was the absolute perfect Hagrid that any of us Harry Potter fans could have possibly wished for. He
yes,
was
yes.
everybody's introduction into that world, and you might forget now, 20 years after, just how massive early Harry Potter was.
Yeah.
But it was enormous in terms of just taking over the public consciousness, in terms of taking over the masses, just media consuming, I suppose. It was just all encompassing. That the kind of early 2000s Harry Potter was just enormous. And
Yeah.
Hagrid was the vast majority of people's first introduction. Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid was the vast majority of people's first introduction actually into the magical world, the wizarding world, because we're just like Harry at the start of that movie, at the
Yeah.
start of that book, the start of the story, and Hagrid is the first magical person we meet. Well, he's the first magical person Harry really
Runs in.
meets, isn't
Yeah.
he? I suppose
Yeah.
because he doesn't really remember his parents, and I'm not getting into tiny little details. You know
No, but
full well
even
I'm
just
well aware of lore of Harry Potter.
yes, but when he delivers him, he's
He
all
does.
concerned and worried for him. It's so sweet, and he kind of, gets kind of teary eyed, and
Again,
uh,
somebody that's able to
yeah,
just be so emotional,
yes. For being such this
particularly as
big
Hagrid.
person.
Yeah.
Yes, it's why in my head canon, I like to think that you named your big, black, furry, giant dog Ruby because of Ruby as Hagrid.
I don't
You
think we
tell
did,
me
but
you tell me that you didn't, but I just like to think that
it
because she's
it
just
it might have
she's
been subconscious. It
yeah.
might have been subconscious because she is the dog embodiment of Hagrid.
Yes, and her name is Ruby, like Rubius, like the girl version of
It is
Rubius.
kinda
So
true.
yes,
It is
head
kinda true.
canon. Yes, big, lovable, furry dog.
My parents actually also like to well, I say like to tell a story. They have a story about going to the theatre in London, and Robbie Coltrane was sat in front of them
Oh,
in the
really?
theatre.
Oh my gosh.
And they bring this up, like, fairly frequently in terms of just like, "Oh, yeah, we went to the theatre, Robbie Coltrane was there." I just think, from what I can gather, his presence was just massive. It was just enormous, and you can imagine
Really?
that because he was a
Yeah.
big guy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, apparently his presence was just enormous
Yeah.
in that particular instance. But I like that they've kind of always had that. Um, even though I believe he was quite loud during this particular play.
Oh, goodness. That's
You
hilarious.
half expect that as well.
Yes, just the hearty
Um,
hearty laughter of
a
him.
hearty guy, yeah.
Yes. But yeah,
But
I mean,
I like that.
and just interesting, the Bond movies I referenced last show
Yeah.
were the ones were his films. And in one of the films, he uses his dying breath to save Bond. So yeah,
Even though he is
just
using that silly accent.
and his little cane gun.
Yes.
It's great.
He's a bit he's a
Yes.
bit silly in those
Great.
movies, isn't he? But it
Yes.
works.
Great character actor. He will be missed. She will be missed. And yeah, just a
Absolutely.
tough losses this past week.
I mean, I always like to remember Robbie Coltrane as well from Blackadder.
Oh
He's not
yeah.
he's not in he's not in a lot of
No, I think
Blackadder,
you've shown me some with him though. Yeah.
but he plays the Samuel Johnson, who is the basically inventor of the dictionary. He wrote the dictionary. He plays him in the third series of Blackadder quite, you know,
Yeah.
aggressively and
Well, as he did most
loudly.
things, I think. Yeah.
And he plays the ghost of Christmas Present in Blackadder's Christmas Carol,
Perfect.
which really does kind of work very well because he just gets drunk with Rowan Atkinson and
Well, that's a pretty good segue we're getting into our next
kind of
topic.
is.
So, Morgan, you love the Christmas Carol. Your
I
favorite
do.
iteration is the Albert Finney version, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
musical,
Yes.
1970 it is.
Yes. And your least favorite thing or person rather, I mean, not maybe not so much now after we kind of have covered him a little
I
bit,
mean,
but he's still pretty not you're not up there
he's still
as
reasonably low, isn't he?
yes. Would be Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So, funnily enough, a film coming out with Will Ferrell in an iteration, a meta telling of a version of a Christmas Carol in the new film Spirited, which we just got a trailer for. Him and Ryan Reynolds. The premise seems to look like people are aware of the Christmas Carol of Dickens, that story, and Ryan Reynolds is like seemingly just another like bad character that needs these ghosts to visit him in order for him to kind of you know, get some kind of a
Yes,
retribution and
yeah.
yes, type thing. So
For
yeah.
me, the present day retelling of A Christmas Carol doesn't work because I think there's something that there needs to be and I understand obviously that when a Christmas Carol is a contemporary story because it's obviously written when it's set,
Yeah.
right? It's not like a historical story, but we look back
No.
on it now and we view it as a Victorian thing, and it's got Victorian tendencies, and I just think that should be where it is. I just think modern day, present day, 2-day retellings of A Christmas Carol that bring the same concept into today, they lack wholesomeness. They
Yeah, I
lack
mean
a
every time
kind
I
of innocence that I think Christmas Carol does actually have. It's very, very simple, and I think things like Scrooged
yes, I was gonna
cry.
say every time I bring up Scrooge, you kind of have
I
this
don't
weird
really
kind of
like
energy about
Scrooged.
it. Yeah.
It's got a weird energy to it. It's got a very cynical nature to it, and I don't like. I think A Christmas Carol should be very simple. It doesn't need to be complex. The way you do A Christmas Carol differently is you throw the Muppets in there, or you make it a musical, or you
I
make it a weird animation, because they're
I
all like different styles of doing the very same simple story. You cannot possibly try and do something too different with it, because when it gets too different, it loses a lot of its meaning, I think.
okay, that's fair.
I always like the idea of old misers at Christmas, or like evil people at Christmas learning their lesson. It's a nice idea, but you could do this and not make it
A modern
directly a
day thing.
Christmas Carol.
I just love Scrooge because I mean, in the parts where Scrooge is supposed to be kind of terrified, it terrifies me. Like I remember being really scared of some of those darker elements in that film. Whereas kind of other iterations when it kind of is supposed to be a little bit darker and the ghosts get kind of more and more scary. I'm not really that scared.
Yeah,
So
and I understand, of course, that Scrooged is completely taken away from A Christmas Carol. It is it's closer to this movie, this Spirited movie,
yes,
by the
because it
looks of it,
does
than
have this meta thing because in the movie he's actually working on this crazy like extreme version of A Christmas Carol. Like he's
yeah,
actually making a TV version of it.
yeah.
So it's this very kind of meta
It's
thing.
not a direct kind of adaptation
No,
necessarily, which is
no.
is is where I say it's fair enough. It's just not my favorite version of that story at
So,
all.
what did this trailer do anything for you, or did it just irritate you?
I no, it no. I like. I mean, what I would say is that Ryan Reynolds should be focusing on Wrexham and his football team, not making any more movies. He's the owner of a football team now, and he should be focusing on doing
Focusing
that. He
on
can't
that.
leave it all to McElhenney. You know, he's got to be doing some of it. He's got to be doing half of it. Now that he's done this first season of this TV show, he can't just decide, "Oh,
Dip
I've done
out.
it now." No, we're not having that. Everybody would just be violently against him, but that's obviously not what he's
Well,
going
how
to
are
do.
they
He's
doing?
going to
Are they doing okay?
Well, they're in the fifth tier, so it's they're not even a professional football club. That's why they've done it for story reasons, but it works. It's worked. It's really everybody loves them kind of for it, and
Okay.
the entire kind of certainly that particular town loves them, and that particular football club loves them, and basically everybody sees it as a good thing.
Okay,
because
that's
it's
good.
kind of boosting a lower league club,
Yeah,
which is
that's good.
kind of
Commendable.
is something we all enjoy generally.
Yes.
But he should be
Okay.
focusing on that rather than making silly Christmas Carol movies. But no, I like that he's actually doing this because
Okay.
he seems like someone who wouldn't. Like, you think about Scrooge and you think about a comedic actor in Bill Murray doing that. Bill Murray's a very different comedic actor to Ryan Reynolds is. Bill
Yeah.
Murray is a cynical, kind of improv,
Sarcastic. Yeah.
sarcastic, kind of harsh comedy kind of guy.
Yeah.
And it works. Ryan Reynolds is a stupid, wholesome, kind of put a smile on your face comedy guy.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he's kind of stepping into that role. I hope it goes well for him. I hope it kind of allows him to show a bit of a different side.
And I will say Will Ferrell was a pretty, pulled back. He wasn't as kind
He
of,
did seem quite
you
pulled
know,
back, yes,
crazy as he normally is and loud
and
and
we like
grating.
that.
Yes.
We like a pulled back Will Ferrell.
Yes,
We
which
don't hate
which I
that at
tried to
all.
give you when we covered him
You did? Oh
on
no, you
Morgan
did.
Hasn't Seen.
You definitely did. So look, I'm semi interested in this movie.
Okay.
I think if I hear interesting things, I'll probably check it out. But it's certainly not gonna be one I'm dyingly excited for.
Okay.
You
Fair.
know.
That's fair. Okay. Well,
Um,
I was really thinking you were gonna like hate this and
no, because you can't hate. I will take
well, hate the idea of
all.
it. I mean,
No, because I will take all the Christmas Carol-ish things I can get because I just love that story. I don't like that it loses things when people try and retell it and readapt it. I think
but this is
at
doing
rea
something different, I
it
think. So I
is,
think, yeah,
but like I say, I think readaptations of it should be in style, not in story. I think the story should always should always remain
in the
exactly
Victorian
the
kind of
same.
era. Okay, that's fair. I think that is
Exactly the
fair.
same. But you
Okay.
just do
Well,
different things with it.
yeah.
Like George C. Scott's Scrooge is different to Michael Caine's Scrooge. I know
Yeah.
Michael Caine's playing off Muppets for the majority of the time, but his Scrooge is also different to Albert Finney's Scrooge, to Alistair Sim's Scrooge. They're all distinct.
Yeah.
They're all doing slightly different things with it, but they're telling the exact same story. I just think it's too easy of a story to try and do something else with because it's not reinterpretable. It's impossibly simple
Yeah.
as as a concept, as a story. Old man learns his lesson and becomes good on Christmas. Literally it. Nothing more to it than that. There
Fair.
isn't.
Okay.
There's nothing more to it than
Yeah,
that.
it's a very simple story. So yeah, I mean, considering this is kind of taking a meta take and being fully aware that this story exists in this world, I'm really curious to see it. I'm really curious to see, if Will Ferrell kind of maintains a chillness,
Yeah,
as opposed to just being kind of ridiculous. So I do kind of prefer that version of Will Ferrell. So yeah,
I
I'm
certainly do.
I'm I'm curious about it. That trailer
Yeah,
got me curious.
curiosity
Yes,
is a good word.
but we did get another trailer that I'm actually kind of I had a lot of fun with this trailer, so I'm kind of interested to see this movie.
I am
Um,
also kind of half into it. I'm
yes,
more into this than I think I am Spirited, I'll be honest with you.
yes. So this is actually playing into our game later, but
Tis.
yeah, we got a trailer for Megan, a
Or
killer.
Megan, as people with real
Yes.
accents pronounce it,
Megan. Yes, a
not
killer
Megan.
robot. Megan. A killer robot movie, which I saw somebody describe the look of this character like what an actual child would look like between Wanda and Vision.
It
I'm
oh,
like
it's exactly that, isn't
yes,
it?
Yes, I can't remember. I saw it on TikTok or something.
That's
Somebody kind of said
perfect. That is this
that.
is exactly the not that that could actually happen because I don't
Yeah,
think
no.
old Vision can,
Yeah,
or well, he certainly can't. Well, wherever he is now, White
yeah,
Vision and
white
all this
vision, yeah.
business,
But
and
yes,
whoever he is now, and whether
were
he even
were
knows
Wanda
who
and
Wanda
Vision
is now.
able to have children,
Real children,
it
not
would it would
fake
be
children like they
it would
had,
be
and
Megan.
it would be
Yes,
Megan. It would be
yes.
Megan, this strange robot-looking girl that does look, admittedly, rather unsettling. That's the point of
Yes,
it.
yes, it's like an uncanny valley, which I think that it was a purposeful kind of
Of
design.
course it is, of course it is. Because
Yes, so
if they were trying to pass this off as a real person, it would be silly, but they're not.
yes,
This is an android. This is an invention, a robot that has been created as a toy, as
yes,
a as a as a
as a companion,
as a
you know.
companion.
Yes, so yes, this little girl, her parents die, she ends up living with her aunt. The aunt is kind of trying to navigate how to take care of this little girl.
Well, we don't trust
She
the Aunt Janine because she's Rose from Get Out.
She is. Um, so she is like this tech person working on this, cybernetics type project. She is the creator of Megan, so she introduces her niece to Megan and they become good friends. It helps her kind of with her whole grieving process with her parents situation. And she kind of becomes part of the family. And I think in the trailer, somebody kind of gives a warning about, how much uh, Megan can develop, a connection to somebody to, a
Yeah,
very kind of extreme degree and a warning is kind of given and she's just like, "Oh no, she's really become part of our family. She's helping her. She's helping my niece." And then we kind of get the moments of things kind of, she tries to shut off Megan and Megan is like, "I thought we were having a conversation." Like, "Ah."
it's it's kind of a mix of a lot of a lot of good movie robots, or kind of movie androids
Yeah.
in the past. You think of things like even Hal in 2001, who refuses to shut off and becomes more sentient and
Yeah.
kind of takes over that situation.
Yeah.
Um, through kind of, we don't really know why, it just kind of happens and it's a bit scary.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll probably learn why Megan kind of takes over her own self and can't be shut off and things like that.
Yeah, and how
There'll be
that plays.
something that's happened, whether it
Yeah.
will be a child's play situation where there's some sort of curse put on you by an ancient by an old
Uh,
killer who's
yes.
dying.
Or, it's just I think it's more a protective thing of her person. So, it's seemingly like she's doing all of this to kind of protect the little girl because she's kind of
Which is creepy.
made this very kind of deep, weird bond with her.
It's very,
So yeah.
I like how it's playing on the fear and the terror of overprotectiveness.
Yes.
'Cause it's very much like, "Oh, no, no, I'm here to help you. I just want to protect you." And it's like, "No, get away from it. Give
Yes,
me
but
the
if you
space."
can't
"You're not
understand
giving
kind of, yeah,
I can't give you space. I need you need to protect you." And then it all shouty,
kinda falls
shouty,
apart. Yes, but, if you wanna
chasey,
have some
chasey.
fun, I recommend you follow both the Chucky account on Twitter and the Megan account because they were having a little bit of a fun little back and forth
Well,
on
it is
Twitter
quite
recently.
similar, isn't it? I mean, it is quite
Yes,
similar in the concept of a child's new toy/companion
kind of
comes
becoming
weirdly alive.
yes.
It's whether, I don't think Megan is going to be as gorily evil as Chucky. I think Chucky is just naturally kind of just likes cutting people up.
Yeah,
I think Megan is going to just
kind of
get,
take protecting this girl to a very
yes,
e
and
extreme degree.
exactly, get rid of people that she views as a threat to this girl.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be how this plays out. I like it as an idea. I like the look of
Look of
Megan.
Megan, yeah. The trailer
Um,
was pretty intense, the
it's
build of
just
it, yeah,
whether it's going to get into silly territory
yeah.
of, in terms of the way the movie's made and in terms of kind of the tonal stuff you're getting. because there's one scene in this trailer that kind of just made me go, "Ooh, I hope it's not that." And it's
Yeah.
where Megan is running on all
Oh,
fours
yeah,
like some
kind of
sort of feral
crawling.
animal
Yeah.
through the woods, and it's just like, "Oh, don't make it that. Slow your movie down. We
Yeah.
don't need
It's a little weird.
intense." I said this. What did I say this on? Slow your movie down. Smile. Smile. Slow
Yeah.
your movie down. Be patient. Don't
Yeah.
jump scare every damn 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Patience. This is what we got on Burnt Offerings last week on the main show.
Yeah.
Patience. If Megan is a patient movie and just creeps you out quietly, allows Megan to, okay, get rid of people who she views as a threat to her new friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but we don't need half silly shaky cam chase sequences through the
Through
woods,
the
which I
woods. Yeah, as
fear
she's
it's
crawling on
going
all
to do.
fours. Yeah. So hopefully they'll kind of rein it in and keep the kind of tension that was seemed to be building in that trailer aside from that part.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Is it
I'm
is it
really
like is
interested
it
by
James
this.
Wan produce?
I think so in Blumhouse. Yeah. So
I mean, Blumhouse can do anything. Blumhouse isn't the guarantee of a great horror movie. Blumhouse
no.
is just the guarantee of a well, kind of thought out business model. That's what
Yes.
Blumhouse
Yeah.
is. You can't fault
But I
Jason
think they
Blum
have
for
more.
making profits on his horror
No,
movies.
but they do make more good horror than bad, I'd
They
say.
do, they
Yeah.
do. Um, but it doesn't fill me with as much.
Confidence than just James Wan's name is more than just his name kind of brings more confidence than Blumhouse
It does, but then again, he
backing it.
did make the Annabelle movie, or he produced it.
Yes. Um I
But
do
that was
believe,
The
yeah.
Conjuring, and The Conjuring's are good movies generally. So
Yeah, so it's kind of the same everybody who did that Malignant movie as well. And that one got very kind
okay,
of silly, but people loved it. So,
well, I don't mind good. I don't mind like fun silliness.
yes, and
Fun silliness
that's
is
what I got
great.
from this trailer. So,
I mean, there is some like weird scenes of Megan dancing
dancing
quite
like
strangely.
TikTok dancing almost. So, yeah, I don't know.
I don't
We'll see.
mind that. I don't mind if it turns kind of campy. If it turns
Yeah,
campy, I'm into it.
cuz Malignant was pretty campy.
If it turns just mid 2000s horror movie, shaky cam Final Destination 4 situation, you know what I
Oh, that
mean?
was
Like that
rough. Yeah.
kind of just
Yeah.
what's happening. We don't need that.
Yes.
Which I thought we were just past
Yeah,
in
because
horror
we've been
movies. I
we've been
really
doing
did.
pretty good. We've been doing pretty good so far. So yeah, a lot of fun with Megan. I'm excited to see that one and see
I
where
am
that goes.
excited.
But
Yeah.
um yes, so some solid trailers we got. But yes, we also got the finale of She-Hulk.
The finale of She-Hulk. Yes. Oh my
Yes.
god. Let's get into this because I think we're going
Yes.
to probably clip this up and release it as a separate video, just
Yeah.
as a She-Hulk finale review because we've liked to do that. But yes, the finale of She-Hulk. The let's make everybody cry over how actually clever we are and how actually um how much of a statement on you and your insecure ways we are actually making,
Yes. I
because
mean,
this is just funny to me. This is just
yes. I
quite
mean, every
hilarious.
episode was trolling the haters, and the haters kept watching it and kept getting more and more mad, not realizing that the show is just really trying to screw with you.
The show's
Um,
villain is people who don't like the show.
yes, essentially. And it's just crazy to me that people can't understand a show that is not trying to have big stakes. It's not trying to do that. It's trying to be different. There have been so many complaints from these same ass people who were like, all the model of the MCU is all the same. It's like, building to some big
Yeah,
thing.
right.
And yeah, I'm tired of that. I want something different. This show's giving you something different. Lower stakes, simple, character driven story, law comedy show. That is what this is. It's a
And they
week
get
to week.
mad when it
Yes,
doesn't finish like
yes.
that.
When it doesn't have a big bombastic boom boom kind of finish. It's just very kind of the stakes of the character, which Jen says. She's like, "Mm, my show is low stakes. I just want to see it through what happens with me and my character, and that's kind of it."
Yeah, because we obviously get the setup of a big fight, don't we? Which admittedly, I think after last week's episode, we kind of all thought would probably happen. There would be some, intelligentsia infiltration, and there would be a bit of punchy, explosiony, fighty, because this is just what we are to expect. But I'm so damn thankful it does something totally different
And totally
and
fun and creative.
really quite creative, really quite fun, something we haven't seen
I mean,
at
I
all.
every everyone I've seen has really thought their Disney Plus just like froze up on them.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
It was
Why
so
wouldn't you?
seamless. It was so seamless. And I mean,
Unfortunately, I think it falls into that trap of that won't play in 20 years.
yeah,
That
I
will
think
not
so.
play in 20 years. It's the same, but it won't, because I think things that break the fourth wall and point to the current world, the current kind of attitude of
But I think
online
this attitude
fans, what
is
have
not
you, and
gonna
all that
change.
business. It might not change, but I think things that do that, because I remember when Deadpool came out, I don't think Deadpool plays anymore. I don't mean the character, I mean the movie. Because I think the movie is very 2016 in its attitudes on fourth wall breaking. And I mean that in terms of the jokes it's making. They don't land. The general idea of it still lands. The general idea of it's still great. But the individual jokes are very, very topical. And when you do that, you run the
Then
risk of not
yeah,
playing in the future,
you kind of yeah, you really set yourself into your timeline of,
which
your
is
release time.
which
Yeah,
is what
it's
She-Hulk
true.
has now done. It did it successfully. It was very, very enjoyable. It was great for now. Will it be great in 10 years as a concept? Yes. As a joke, possibly not, unless you look back at it with that historical mindset,
Of what
which you
things
will
were
have
like
to.
at that time. But yeah, I mean, even the things she was saying about the MCU, I saw something that said like the writers actually were asked to pull it back because they were very they were much more
Good.
critical of the MCU and it was like a little too much. So like
Well, good, because I am at least thankful that it's able to see its own flaws and not view itself as perfect, even though it could come across. The cynic in me, I suppose this is where this comes out, maybe thinks that they're doing it just as a way of saying, "Oh, no, no, we hear you guys. We hear you. We hear all your complaints. We're gonna still do it our way. We're not gonna listen to you because we don't like you and we just want your money. But we
but we're still
hear
gonna
you."
we hear everything you're saying. Like I love when she was like, "When are the X-Men coming out?" Then she looks at the camera and like gives a thumbs up, like, "See, I asked
Yeah,
for you guys."
exactly. It's
you know,
like, so the cynic in me wants to view that as just like uncomfortable and, oh, look at this. Oh, they're being so clever and self-aware about themselves, even though they're not going to change to what the people want
yeah,
at
they're
all.
probably not gonna give
But
us exactly what we want, but they're fully aware of what we're asking
I
for.
prefer to view it in a.
I think it's a compromise at least.
I prefer to view it in a more, okay. They're actually might maybe listening to
Yeah.
people. They're actually maybe taking some things on board. I like the jokes that they're making in relation to the context we are in now with the MCU. I love the ripping up the television screen and moving from one Disney Plus thing to another Disney Plus
Yes.
thing. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. It's very
And
2022.
she's just
It's not
walking
going to
through
be
yeah.
2035.
And the fact she's walking through the studio, like, in Burbank and, like,
Yeah,
and going
yeah.
in
It's
and the
very,
whole
very fun.
Kevin being this not Kevin Feige, but, like, being this
Yeah, which again,
yeah,
I mean, I prefer to view as that's quite funny. I like that.
yeah.
He's kind of accepted that his writers are making a joke about him being just some sort of android figure who's this
Yes, who's just kind of in
brain in the
all
middle.
powerful control of
Yeah,
everything, yeah,
I'm not really a human and all this business. That's
yeah.
quite funny. You also wonder if that's actually how he views himself, though.
Well, I mean, I think that was, his idea. I wanna say I saw something that said, like, that was actually his idea.
But like as a higher than the product, because you're not higher than the product. Nobody's higher than. It's like if you're on a sports team, one player is not bigger than the team.
Yeah,
Kevin Feige should not view himself as bigger than
and I don't think he does.
Marvel,
That's
and I'd
why
like
he
to
kind of
think he
was able
doesn't.
to make that joke, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I'd like to think he doesn't, and this is the same situation of what I said just before. Is it just them fake joking with you that, oh yeah, we hear you, we know what you think of us, we're not going to change because we're evil, and this is the
Corporation-y.
I'm battling with myself
Yeah.
in my mind. So I'd
Of what
prefer
you
to.
kind of believe them to be and
Yeah,
but
exactly.
then they're kind of doing things that make you think that they wanna please the fans, but then
Exactly,
you kinda
exactly.
know who they are. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yes, I think we
exactly.
all have that battle with Disney and Marvel and all the properties that are under their umbrella.
Well, particularly
Uh,
Disney, really, but I prefer to think of
have
it a
faith in
little
the people
more.
behind. I think there's good people in that division that are trying to do
Yeah,
things for the fans. So,
I want to
um
I want to view it with a little more humanity.
yes. So, I mean, I just loved all season long that the show was trolling the haters, and the
Yeah, I
haters
really enjoyed it.
kept feeding into it and watching it, like, literally calling you out every single week, and then you're on Twitter screaming into your little microphone about how this show is trash and how you hate it and all of the things that
Just
basically,
because I have a little microphone doesn't mean I have been screaming. Jenny, why are you being so cruel to me?
No,
Just
no,
because I've
not
got
you.
a little microphone
No.
right there.
If you were on TikTok like I am, you would see these people
Okay.
with their they take that little microphone and they're
Oh,
screaming
it's the
into it.
people with the headphone
Yes,
microphone. It's
and they
this.
hold it up and they're shouting, "This show sucks, this show is
Oh, I
trash,"
see.
and you're still watching every week, though.
I see. Yeah. I mean, you are exactly the kind of person this show is making fun of and making the complete villain of the show, and that is really funny to me.
Yeah.
Like the show itself is really, really clever. Is really, really funny. Um, I think Tatiana Maslany has been just such a welcome bit of refreshment from the
Yes.
MCU. Same with what Iman Vellani or Iman Vellani was with Miss Marvel. Such a welcome bit of
Yeah, it's
refreshment.
something completely different that we haven't seen before, very low stakes, just a kind of
Yeah,
and I think the shows were the best place to do that. You get a little bit of this character so that way when you bring them into the bigger world, we already kind of have settled with them, we got to know them, we get to fall in love with them, and we're ready to see them do more. And I think that's what She-Hulk did, that's what Miss Marvel did.
it's just
And
charisma. It's
yes, and
charisma.
I didn't need it to do anything more than what it did.
No,
I had fun with every episode. Some episodes I think were stronger than others, but I had fun with I went into it knowing what this show wanted to be, what this show advertised itself to be. Every episode is telling us it's going to be this legal comedy. That's it. That's what it's trying to be, a legal comedy. So when you have these random little side plots of her doing cases and things like that, people thought that was boring filler. That's what the show is.
yeah. The
It's like a
side
Scooby
plot.
Doo where it's a different thing every time, and you just have fun with it,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
side plot is actually the fights that she has sometimes with people. That's the
Yes, the
actual
through
side
line
plot.
story is essentially the side plot.
Yeah, it was a great show. It
I had
was a
fun with
great
it. It was
show.
completely different than anything we've seen. It was a lot of fun, and people can, have their opinions about it. I had a great time with this show, and this finale was so fun and kind of blew my mind in just the creative choices it made and the surprises it had in it, and kind of really just kind of saying F you to a lot of people's
Yeah. And
expectations,
you know
which I
what, as
loved.
well? It really couldn't have worked, but it really, really did.
It
It
did.
stuck it so well,
Yes.
which you have to commend everybody for making it all make sense, making it all kind of come together, making it just be able to work in the
Yeah.
context of that particular show. It could have felt like it came out of absolutely nowhere, but it kind of didn't because you have the snippets of the fourth wall break. You're aware that, she's looking at you watching it and going, wait, is this what's happening now? Like, this
Yes.
shouldn't be
Do you
happening
guys
now.
really want this to happen? Yeah, I'm like asking us, is this what you want? No, no, this is not happening. And I mean, we get some actually kind of big kind of reveals. We have Wong taking the abomination out of prison.
Right?
We
I
have
mean, where's that gonna go?
Bruce bringing his son Scar. Um
I wonder if that character actually really exists, though, or if that's going to be some sort of weird She-Hulk rewrite
well,
of
I
"No, we
mean,
didn't like that. We're going to get rid of it."
Comics, that's a whole kind of actual Hulk storyline.
Okay,
But, um, I they're gonna have to latch him onto somebody else's story because they are not allowed to make Hulk solo films.
are
So
they
I'm wondering,
still not allowed to do that?
Universal, so if they can work it out with Universal, Universal owns, like, the sole rights to Hulk, I think. So, like, they can use Hulk, but he has to be a part of somebody else's story. It can't be a solo Hulk film. So,
I just
unless
can't
they
believe
kind
that
of
still exists.
Yes, so unless they work out a Sony type deal with Universal,
Yeah,
they're not gonna be able to do a wholly Hulk story. He's gonna have to be tacked on to somebody else's story.
but can he be tacked onto Jen's story? Sure.
I mean, he could. So, if that's kinda how they're gonna do it to make him have his story, but I mean, I think that seems like something that would be wholly his focus.
It
So
kinda does, yeah. Poor
yes,
Bruce.
so, they gotta talk to Universal and, because they worked it out with Sony. Like, I think Sony, like, you know, makes all the kind of money from those Spider-Man movies, essentially, the distribution type stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, if they can work it out, because that's kind of a big whole situation. So that's an interesting thing that they kind of just threw in there, but I still don't even feel like that's a bad thing that they kinda just peppered that in, because I was loving just kind of the stuff with Jen. I loved the intro to the show being the intro to the old Incredible Hulk series.
Yes.
That was
That was
really fun.
great.
That was hilarious.
That
I,
was
I loved
I
that.
mean, Mark Ruffalo kinda suits that
That era.
weird denim 70s
Yeah.
shirt, doesn't he? And the high pants. I
Yes.
thought he looked quite good in that, actually.
He did. He looked really good. Um
Um, weird.
yeah.
But yeah, I did
Yes.
like that. I did
Such a
like
fun
that.
episode. I really had a lot of fun with this series. So, haters gonna hate, but I personally had fun with it. So,
As did I. As did I.
yes.
Good. She-Hulk. Applause. Applause
Yeah.
all round for
Yay.
She-Hulk. What's the next MCU show we're getting?
Well, I mean, this leads straight into Black Panther, so that's the next
Oh yeah, Black Panther,
MCU
yeah.
thing. Which I loved when, they said, "Oh, you're gonna have to go back to Jen off screen because the special
Yes.
effects artists have moved on to another project," and then you hear the Black Panther drums.
I don't want to say the exact same thing I've said twice already in our discussion about She-Hulk, about being cynical and being wholesome, fighting in my own brain, but that was another point where the joke about the effects team, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we know you overwork your effects team. Are you really joking about it? Are you really
Yeah.
joking about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm all over the place with it. Anyway,
Yeah. Yes.
a good show. No, but I don't know what's the next show.
Is it the Echo show?
Is it the Secret Invasion show?
Ooh, I don't know.
It's coming next year. It's not this year, is it? I don't
No,
think there's
no.
any more this year.
Yes, but I think it might be maybe Echo or Secret Invasion
Yeah.
coming out.
So basically, I think the only other thing we've got MCU this year is Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
Because I don't think there's anything in December, is there?
That I can think of, no.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well,
yes,
maybe
yes,
we'll
She-Hulk.
maybe we'll have a Christmas off Marvel for once.
I know.
God,
Yes, perhaps.
kind
Um,
of need it.
but the final thing that we are
Oh, here we
talking
go.
about
We're
in
giving
this
yes,
What's Up?
we're giving She-Hulk credit for doing something different. We're saying haters gonna hate She-Hulk. We don't. What do we think about this? Because yes,
Whew,
Janine, what movie?
Halloween Ends. Halloween
Yeah,
Ends came out this past weekend. We watched it.
we did.
We will be giving our spoiler review
I
right
think there'll be.
now.
I think there has to be spoilers. I
There
don't think you
has to.
can
Okay.
talk about this
So
movie
yes,
without
yes.
it.
Yeah. Spoiler review of Halloween Ends. We
Coming up
saw the
right now.
movie. Yes. And yeah, I'm somebody who really, really loved 2018. It was like The Force Awakens for me, you know. I, you
That's
know,
a strange
I
statement,
just
but
I mean
okay.
in terms of, I thought it was a kind of really solid later legacy
It
continuation of
was.
the
I
original
agree.
story. Yes, and so I thought this really kind of led very well off of 78. Um, so I enjoyed 2018 thoroughly. Halloween Kills, while it was fun, I had a lot of fun with it in terms of just Michael Myers being this brutal killing thing, and the kills were fun and cool, and Michael Myers was great in it. They did a lot of things wrong that just kind of veered away from what they did in 2018. Just very idiotic characters, wasting characters, um, just some really dumb character choices that just did not fit with, the really solid thing they set up in 2018. So in going to this one, I was very kind of like, "Ugh, what's going to happen?" And this definitely did not fit into what they set up in these first two films. And I would maybe attribute a little bit of that to having to kind of just figure out a new plan in terms of because I think they wanted to film kills and ends all together. But because of the pandemic, they had to kind of halt production and then just figure out a new story that took place years later to get to 2022. Um,
So is that actually what happened? So like the story itself of Halloween Ends had to be changed
yeah,
because
so
of the filming schedule?
yes. So things that I have seen, I think they were supposed to be filmed together. So it was this all three films were gonna be the same Halloween night, the same 2018 night.
Oh, I see.
Yes, but because they had to do this time jump to get to today's time, because
Oh,
they had
so
to halt
yes.
in 2020,
Okay.
it kind of messed things up with their
I'll
plan.
be honest with you, I just momentarily forgot that Halloween Kills is actually set at the exact same time that
Yes.
Halloween 2018 is.
Yes, which is insane to me because we go into this film literally just 1 year after all of that happened, that Michael Myers killed all these people, that it was all these crazy mobs, and he killed
He comes
essentially
back after
everyone.
40
He
years.
killed basically half the town,
He
and then
killed an
1 year
awful lot of people.
yes, on Halloween night, was brutal, terrible, awful. He's now just on the run, missing, like, no one has seen him for a whole year. But we're still just celebrating Halloween. We're going to parties. Kids are just running around trick or treating. Everyone is la di da di da di da. So that just felt very weird that it's just only a year later. And it's not even that he's locked away in asylum. He is just out. He has just
Yeah,
gotten away. No one knows where he is. But because you haven't seen him in a little bit of time,
because this is where this movie opens, isn't it? It opens with that cold open on Halloween 2019.
yes. So,
But the
we have a
rest of the
couple.
movie is obviously a couple of years or a few years
So about 4
after
years
that,
later. Yes.
as
So
in the
yeah,
present day now.
yes.
Um,
So it just seemed very weird that like after the events, the insanity of uh 2018 and kills that everyone would just be celebrating Halloween all willy-nilly knowing that he's out there somewhere.
it
And
is very, very strange. And look, I as far as these Halloween movies go, I liked Halloween 2018. I actually did kind of like Halloween Kills. I feel like I saw it when my brain was totally switched off and just kind of rolled with it
Yes.
because it
No,
was
like,
completely just it was senseless. It made nothing anybody did made any damn
any
sense in
sense.
Halloween Kills,
No,
but
it didn't.
I was into it, and I think I was into it because it gave me what I like about the Halloween movies. It was a slasher movie. It was tense. It was brutal in its
Brutal,
kills.
yes.
Michael
I loved
himself
this version of Michael, just ruthless and brutal and gave 0 Fs, like, he just was
Michael
killing everybody.
himself
Yeah.
was great in Halloween Kills. All the legacy
Everyone
cast.
else.
This is a legacy sequel. This is what you expect from a legacy sequel. You expect random legacy cast members to come in. Even I forget the guy's name, but the sheriff who's absurdly old in Halloween Kills from the
Yes,
first
Sheriff
movie.
Brackett.
Yes, Lee Brackett. Thank you for reminding me of his name.
He
Oh
was,
my
like,
god, how old
70
does he look?
he was, like, 72 or 70 something, and he
He
came
looks
back.
about 92.
Yes.
He doesn't look 72 in that movie. He
No, is he
looks like
70
he's in his
something?
90s. He looks
Yeah,
so old,
yeah,
but
he
they
was, like,
brought him back.
76 or something, yeah.
Because this is great. This is what legacy sequels have done. They've done this. This is why I think Halloween Kills was a great follow-up from 2018, because 2018 reintroduced Laurie and Michael and all this business, gave you some new characters, and it was essentially, I suppose Halloween 2018 was essentially the same idea as Halloween 78.
78, and then this one was
Just
s
with some
Halloween
people that
2.
know who it is. And yeah,
Yes,
Halloween Kills was an equivalent to Halloween 2. More
where
people
Laurie's
know it,
just in the hospital,
or
just
he's in the hospital.
yeah.
You get, but you get the mob situation. I really like the mob situation. I think, yes, okay, it beat you over the head a bit with its messaging and its
And the evil died
kind of
tonight,
its ideas.
and
Evil dies tonight, which is my sign today, by the way.
yes,
Evil dies
and
tonight, which I just
just
love
the
as an
but
idea.
then the kind of but then it's like they try to put some kind of moral lesson in there about we're the real monsters because look, we pushed
Well,
this
they
man to
do,
death,
yes.
but then they still are all all with the mob mentality, so, like, it didn't really
Well, no, I
do
think
anything.
no, I think that's almost what I like about it. I think that's what I like about it because it shows the weird mindset of people. Because I feel like, I'm in two minds
Well,
about things
no, I
a
ap
hell of a lot of the time. And I think that's what most of the characters in
but I
Halloween Kills were like. They were, yes, evil dies tonight, let's kill him. We don't like him because he's killed people, let's kill him. It's just like, it's completely hypocritical.
yes, and I think it makes sense for this town, what they've been through to kind of be driven to this kind of mentality. But yeah, it's just like they try to throw some lesson in there, but they didn't really learn the lesson. They just continued to do what they were doing. So that all just felt yes, like I think what makes this movie fun for me is Michael Myers. And I can laugh at the very stupid decisions people are making and just kind of write it off as that. But because I really thought this trilogy was going to continue on the way 2018 was in really kind of crafting some really smart storytelling, and then it just kind of was just this free for all kind of thing. It was a bit jarring. So
I
now going into
I
this one, I
understand.
didn't know what to expect. So I think we need to actually get more into
Of course we do,
this
but I
movie.
think we
Yeah.
needed to give that
To
context.
lay that groundwork of
We
how we feel
needed
about the other two films before we kind of jump into it. Um
100%, we needed to give that context because I actually think Halloween Kills is a great ending. And I mean an ending. I mean, that should have been like, okay, the guy doesn't die in Halloween Kills. I mean, how Michael doesn't just die in Halloween Kills.
now they
This
shoot
is the
him, he gets
absolute
stabbed.
embodiment
Yes.
of Michael Myers, the supernatural force, the not a man, the something bigger than the that kind of image. Because he just keeps getting back up, the dude.
Yeah,
He keeps putting people down. He keeps getting burnt. He keeps getting shot. He keeps getting stabbed, and he keeps getting back up in
yeah,
Halloween Kills. But I think with the culmination of Halloween Kills, I think that's a good ending. So, in terms of people die, Michael's still left out there, and Michael should still be left out there. I don't think Michael should. We'll get into it because we get into it in this movie.
yes. I just think it's just
Now,
kind of weird as how terrible this night went that everyone is just kind of back to normal 1 year later.
of course it is, and this is where
It
we
just feels very
start
weird.
off
But this
in
beginning was
ends.
very much very shocking and very kind of like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I'm in." I'm really kind of curious to see where this is going. So yeah, we have our Corey character a year later babysitting on Halloween night. Parents go to this party. He's hanging out with the kid. Of course, a nice little nod to the original film and a nod to John Carpenter. They're
Yes,
watching John Carpenter's The Thing. The
I
kids were
like that.
actually watching The Thing from Another World in the 78.
I did
So
like that.
all of the things. Um, and the kid's kind of being a brat. Corey kind of goes to the kitchen, comes back. Little boy's gone, knife's gone. So now you're kind of like, okay, well, we know Michael's out there. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Has he decided to come back? So you really don't know. So they really play this, and there's no music at all. There's no score. It's just very silent.
Yeah,
Yes. So I kind of really enjoyed. So I kind of let my brain like, okay, whatever. People are celebrating Halloween a year after all this craziness. Like, I don't. Okay, I can put that aside because now I'm kind of intrigued. What's going on here? So I
the thing
liked
is,
that.
this is what this is what you've been told to do from Halloween Kills. You've been told to just basically just go, don't think too much about it. Just roll with it.
This role
Just
is
roll with it,
yes.
right?
And I found myself thinking too hard about it, like, "Oh, this is so stupid." Well,
No, my
after
issue is
all of you people were riled up, so insane that a man died, that all this stuff happened. Chaos in the town because, oh my gosh, so dangerous. It's on the streets. Oh my gosh. Now he's just running free and everyone's just like, Halloween, yeah.
problem is I don't even mind that because it at least follows up from the don't think too much about it. Whether
Yes.
you're
Well,
thinking
for
too much about it or
me,
not is completely
but once we got into this
beside the
opening,
point.
I was able to kind of drop that
Okay,
mindset and
that's
get
okay.
into it because I was like, okay, this is really quiet. This is really tense. Oh my gosh, there was a knife on that cutting board. Now it's gone. Where is this kid? We hear sounds upstairs in this crazy high
Oh
twisty
yeah, I don't know what's
stairwell.
going
That
on with
was
this
yes. What
staircase.
yeah, an insane staircase. Like who wants to walk up that and get an elevator for your fancy house? Because I'm not walking up them stairs. So yeah, very great building of tension in that whole beginning scene made me just forget all the kind of like, you know, eye rolling nonsense that I was feeling at the start. Um, only for the kid to kind of lock him in the attic and is messing with him and just crazy what happens.
I mean,
um
it is. I don't know how detailed we want to get because oh my god, we could be here for an hour and a half
I
talking about
know.
Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and we really, really cannot be.
No, we cannot.
But
But just that
um,
opening was very intense.
I think yeah, I think it was a really good cold open.
Yeah.
We get blasted into the credits, into the opening credits, which are the Season of the Witch
It's text,
font
yeah, font,
rather
yeah, that's
than
great.
the same font we've been. I mean, why it's the Season of the Witch font and not the same font we've been using? I mean, because is it because it's the third new Halloween movie? Is that why?
Maybe. I mean, I was watching 3C Films. He was kind of breaking down his review, and he talked about how he felt like they were kind of calling a nod to Season of the Witch in terms of this kind of being its own thing, doing something very separate from what we've seen before in any of these films. But then you're adding Michael Myers because a lot of the whole thing with three was like people wanted Michael Myers and he wasn't in it. It was this whole weird different
It's
thing.
very true.
So now it's kind of a combination of what 3 was doing, its whole separate thing, but now you're actually bringing in the icon of this series
It
into
is.
it.
It is very true, and that is a very, very fair point because when this Halloween Ends is a totally different movie
Yeah.
to 2018 and Kills. Totally different.
Yes.
Tonally, story-wise, completely different. This is where it gets weird for me because we've been told to not think in Halloween Kills and just kind of roll with it. It's fun, it's good. And enjoy this kind of craziness that's happening. And then you give us a thoughtful movie,
Yeah.
like a
It's
movie that actually
tones.
wants us
The tones of
to
all 3 of these films don't feel, like, connected
no,
in any way.
a movie that wants us to think about Haddonfield as a town, uh, the poisonous nature of evil, the the boogeyman as a figure, not necessarily just Michael Myers, but as just a shadow that
And
looms over
evil being able
Haddonfield.
to kind of and but I think they kind of veered off of that into kind of now playing into the idea of evil just manifesting itself in being able to move on and pass along.
Exactly, from
Um,
Michael to to
yeah.
to other people.
Yes.
Whoever whether Michael personally chooses these people he wants to
Yes,
become the new
or it
him or
is these devil eyes, these,
yeah,
that pass it along,
the
like,
blackest eyes, the
almost
devil's eyes, and all this
yes,
business. You need
like
to have evil eyes. I don't
yes,
know
and
what
so
it
I don't know
is.
if this is a nod of, like, Jamie Lloyd kind of curse, she touches him and it passes to her, and so that was kind of
It
something they
does
were
feel
maybe
like
kind of
that.
invoking in this film. It really hurt a little bit seeing, after kind of, uh, this is only 4 years later and Michael is, like, this kind of old man, like, this frail old
Michael
man.
was an old man anyway
He
in
was an old man.
2018.
He was, but he was still you saw what he was able to do in
Oh,
Kills.
yeah.
So, just to see him kinda be this beat up old man, like, he looked
It
like
is
he needed a walker, like
it is kind of I mean, he's obviously not played he's played by the same guy that's played,
yeah.
the Shape in the last 2 movies, so he's obviously not played by an old man. But Michael
Well, I mean, that
Myers
guy's in his 60s,
what,
who's
the
playing him.
James Jude
Jude
Courtney?
Courtney. Yes.
Is he?
Yes. So he was playing Michael, like, the older
Why did I
Michael,
not
he was
know
in his
that?
yeah, he was in his 60s, and then another actor played him in the flashback that was in Kills, a younger
Oh, I
actor,
see.
the stunt coordinator. So, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
he an older
all the facts. I didn't even
yes.
know how old James Jude Courtney was, so
Yeah, I think he was 62 or something like that
okay.
in 2018.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Fair
he
enough.
they got an older actor to play this older version of Michael.
Okay. All right.
Um, yes, so, yeah,
Now,
I mean, 4 years later, yeah, maybe he would be a little bit more but just to kinda see how that didn't really phase him at all, you know,
well,
that
no, I mean, no, it didn't. Even though he did obviously look at his lowest. I mean, you liken him to Paul Viserys Targaryen in the last
a little
episode, The
bit,
House of the Dragon, don't
a
you?
little bit, a little
Where
bit.
he just looks near death,
Yes.
like completely near death, at death's door, as I like to say
And someone
sometimes.
could just kind of wrestle him to the ground and, like,
Yeah,
pretty easily, and he
the
needs kind of this help, you know.
the idea of Halloween Ends, this idea of the poisonous nature of evil, the fact that Haddonfield itself is just consumed by evil, and it just persists there, whether
Yeah,
it is in the form of Michael, whether it is in the form of somebody else. It just persists there, is an interesting idea. It
yeah,
makes the movie, it makes basically the trilogy of these new movies more about Haddonfield and the people of Haddonfield than any one character, even Michael. It
yeah,
makes it more
I can
about
see that.
that, which is an
Yeah,
interesting idea, which is a
yeah,
fairly clever idea. Again, we look back on the opening credits, the fact they used the Season of the Witch, the Halloween 3 font. Is this like you said, is this a mirroring of to
focus on
make
something different
wanting to
within
focus on
this
something
universe,
different,
yeah,
wanting to make this a different idea, which is
yes,
fine. This movie would have been more focused and therefore better if Michael Myers wasn't actually in it. which is a mad thing to say. It's an insane thing to say considering how much I really like Michael in the last two movies.
Yeah. But, I mean,
But
I thought it
the
was gonna
way
go
the story this movie takes, the story turn this movie takes, the tone this movie takes, would have made it better if he wasn't actually in the movie, which is very, very, very strange.
I mean, I liked having him there. I don't think you could have it without him.
No,
Um,
well, I and this is what I
had
think.
they
I
kind of
don't
done
think you
things
can.
yes, had they done things and, like, worked around this idea a little differently, had they executed this idea a little differently, they could have maybe done it without him being there. But, um, I in what they ended up kind of crafting, I think you needed him to fill that out, to add, some extra interest in what was going on with kind of this new character. Um, I thought it was gonna be something kinda completely different. I thought it was gonna be more of, okay, we're going to kind of get Michael his strength back, get Michael his groove back so that he can kinda come back. I thought that was more gonna be what was happening. I don't know if I would have liked that more than what we got. I kinda think, almost like a kind of maybe I thought it was leading towards maybe a bit of a puppet master kind of situation, like.
Yeah, it tries too many things. It tries
Yes,
too many things and
and I think
becomes unfocused.
it feels like it wanted to do something like somebody kind of controlling, puppeting Michael, but they knew that they couldn't do that with
Yeah,
Michael. That wouldn't work with him. So this was like the next best thing to kind of do that, but make
y-
it feel like, okay, this is plausible for
oh yeah.
Michael.
Then they try and like flip it. Then they maybe throw an idea of our new character, our Corey
Yeah.
character, becoming Michael's underling.
Yes.
It's just like,
Also,
is this a
again,
thing now that happens? Also, why is Michael Myers living in the sewers with the rats?
I know we can't get out of the sewers. We covered those Ben Willard movies. Now
Why is
it's
Michael Myers living with
literally
Ben?
I mean, Bruce Davison, the actor who played Willard, he pitched a Willard sequel where Willard was just living in the sewers with the
Oh
rats,
no.
controlling them and sending them out to like do his bidding. That's all I could think about when I saw Michael living in the
I
sewers.
can't understand why Michael's living in the sewers. I I
And he's just
can't.
been hiding there for 4 years, and so also that plays
4
into then
years.
then my brain goes back to the my brain turns back on to, like, the logic of, okay, now Lori's setting up Halloween decorations and baking pies and being all nice and having a home when Michael is out running free, but when he's locked away, that's when you're, like, paranoid and living in your
I
fortress.
mean, right, it makes no logical sense.
Yes. And I
It
mean, you
makes
brought up the tag team thing, just to go back to 3C Films because he said
oh,
something very hilarious. He was like he was almost like this Batman and Robin situation where
it
Corey was like the Robin to Michael Myers' Batman.
that's not an inaccurate thing to say, which is just it's just stupid.
It's
There's
very
too much
weird.
there's look, there's a stupidity to Halloween Kills. The fact they thought that guy who looks like Danny DeVito's penguin was Michael Myers, all of it. All of it. There was a stupidity to Halloween Kills,
Yes.
but it was a stupidity that you could kind of just switch off and get behind because the movie was fun. There's a
Yeah.
stupidity to this movie that you can't get behind because the movie's not that fun. It's not a slasher movie. It's a thoughtful, weird, kind of half supernatural, half just embodiment of
Yeah, but
evil.
is it? Because you've established that there's no supernatural element
No,
there.
I didn't
I know.
necessarily mean
No, no, no. I
supernatural.
I know what you're saying, but like there was an essence of supernatural, this kind of passing of the
Yeah.
evil, of infecting, of bringing out that evil into somebody else. And so you're playing with this supernatural, almost like, the Jamie Lloyd kind of curse of
Yeah.
touching that you're playing with that, but then you've already established in the previous movie, no, there's nothing
Yeah,
supernatural with this
that's not
character.
what's going on.
Yeah.
it it doesn't make sense in the worst way. I don't I have to commend the movie for trying something totally different, totally kind of out
Yes,
of
I
left
definitely
field,
appreciate that. I
and
appreciate them trying to do something new.
having a very new, like you said, very, very new idea. Very, very new idea
Yeah,
of the poisonous nature of evil, the corruptive nature, and the fact that Haddonfield itself is just perpetually evil and takes over the people that might have a little something at the back of the brain that might want to just switch on.
yeah.
And Haddonfield will do that to them. An interesting idea. So if you focus with just that, you make a better movie. If you focus with just the idea of Michael regaining strength, coming back and fighting Laurie one last time, a better movie. You try and do both, you become way too unfocused. You don't know where you are. You can't even switch your brain off and have fun because you're not in a slasher movie.
Yeah.
It's a disappointing movie.
Yes, and then kind of what happens to our character who's setting things in motion, and then just for them to kind of just be no longer there, and then it makes it feel a little bit pointless for them to even have been there, you know? It feels like
Absolutely.
the Sartain be only being there to get Michael to Lori. So
Yeah.
again, in the like you're they're doing a lot of interesting things with Corey character. And then, when he kind of is not there anymore, then it feels like his only purpose was to get Michael to Lori again, just like Sartain. And then it feels kind of like, okay, this is the only reason this character was, there. And it kind of takes away the interesting things that were happening with him.
I just think thematically it's interesting. It's strong. Story wise, it couldn't have been more bizarre and
Then
not
what
good bizarre.
yeah, and what and off of what you kind of were trying to of what was established in the first 2 films. It
Exactly.
was very much off of that. It
It would
was
actually
not.
even make more sense if this would have, or a story like this would have come if kills hadn't have happened at all. Because if you'd have just had Halloween 2018, Laurie, burns down her house, he's not there, they kind of go off. If you'd have had, say, Judy Greer was in this movie as well, because she hadn't died because kills didn't happen, and then a few years later, you have Michael. Where's Michael? We don't know where Michael is. Oh, he's been living in the sewers, and it's about the evil of Haddonfield.
And people, have assumed that he burned in that fire, and then
Yeah,
he's like but he didn't.
makes.
But just have him out running free, everyone's fully aware he's out running free, and it's just, "Cool, move on with our lives,"
I
you
just
know?
don't think. I just don't think it's a story wise a reasonable follow up to what we've just seen.
Yes, I
And
mean, on its own,
tonally
and
wise, it's
yeah.
completely just something different, which again, like I said, you don't hate that it's doing something different. You
It's
just
just
wish
based on the universe that you set up, it just doesn't fit.
no, you
And I
just wish
think
it would
that's
have
maybe
done
and maybe
something
that's
reasonable.
yes, and then maybe that's where they're kind of coming in with their season of the witch excuse. Well, no, because we're doing our own separate thing. It doesn't have to fit into these other 2 films, you
Well,
know?
exactly, but that's why I said before that it would actually make more sense if Michael wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
The movie would actually it would have disappointed because you really do expect. I mean, you'd have seen in the trailers, obviously, but if the trailers hadn't have had him there, if the trailers had have been toned back, something different, and then it turns out that Michael wasn't in this movie, and it was actually just about Corey and his becoming the new
Descent into
embodiment
really
of
evil.
evil of Haddonfield.
Yes.
Way more interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, he's already kind of taken the place of the boogeyman to most of the people
He
in
has.
Haddonfield at this point. Um, so to kind of have him maybe just take over that moniker, but then it would have been a situation of people just being pissed about,
Yeah, I don't know. It's
you have a
it's
Halloween movie without Michael Myers, you can't do that,
it's
you
really
know?
weird. It's
So, I
really,
mean,
really weird.
I was entertained by it. I found myself watching it and being interested and really wondering where it was gonna go, and the kills were really cool, and I was just kind of intrigued of, like, "Where is this going? I kind of really wanna know where this is going." Like, kills just was frustrating me the whole time I watched it the first time. Now I can kinda look back at it and just be like, "Oh, these people are so stupid," and laugh at it and have fun with it. Um, this one, I found myself really just kind of enthralled in, like, what was going on. And yes, I did still have my kind of brain on, like, "Oh my gosh, this doesn't make sense." But for the most part, I found myself entertained by it. But in terms of it as a kind of 3 films kind of in a connected universe, they were all completely different. They didn't really adhere to what the film before did. So again, like the final trilogy of the Star Wars universe,
Well, kinda, yeah.
it was very much that. The first film really got you excited, really connected well to the past films. Then the other 2 films just did whatever the hell they wanted and weren't really
Kinda.
like a strong through line at all. So
So it's accurate. That it's definitely
Yes,
accurate.
but they all had kind of interesting things and set up really interesting things and had some good moments in there that you really enjoyed and had fun with. But execution as a whole, as a trilogy, as 3 films that are supposed to kind of be set in the same kind of vibe and energy and
Yeah,
universe, they were all kind of just like, no, who cares what happened before? We're just gonna do whatever
yeah.
we want to do.
And
So
look,
it wasn't a very clean continuation of the story.
no,
Um, very kind of weird moments, weird character interactions.
very
Um,
weird. And look,
like
I mean, the
just
end of this movie, what actually happens at the end of this movie, yes, I think is a well-rounded end.
yes,
I think it is a well-rounded end. It kind of look, it's its own story, and I suppose the positive thing about the Halloween movies is that there's basically 3 different choose your own adventures you can go on with them.
yeah,
You can go on this one, you can go on the H2O one, or you can go on the Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5 one.
yeah,
It's it's interesting like that. So you're never gonna be mad really, because everybody has their own one
yeah. It's
thing.
like choose your own adventure
It is.
with
If
Halloween,
you
which I love. I
And
love
if
that.
you ask
Like
me,
it,
I like the Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween I like that one because I
I'm
really like
about
Halloween 4.
I'm about 1, 2, and H2O. That's like kind of
Okay,
my
and that's fair
vibe.
enough.
No
And if
resurrection.
people
Resurrection's not no.
and if people want if people want this version of the story, you've got this version of the
Yes,
story.
it's
That's the interesting
definitely
thing.
Halloween has done a choose your own adventure type thing with their franchise, which I love. Um, I found I just know in watching this film, I was very kind of into it and entertained and wondering where it was gonna go. But thinking about it as a whole with the 3 films, it was just all over the place, and a lot didn't work in terms of kind of thinking about what these other 2 films were trying to tell you about these characters at this point in their lives, and it just didn't kind of work there with the other 2 films. But if you kinda separate it and have it do its own thing, I think you're able to kinda get into it as a whole, so
Well,
as its own thing.
I think you've come out of this movie more positive than I have, but I came out of Kills more positive than you did.
Yes, yes.
So, I think that's where we stand
Yeah.
on the Halloween on
Yeah.
Halloween Ends.
Yes, I enjoyed
Um,
it, definitely could have done things better, could have had better execution on things, could have made things make more sense, but, I mean, I was into it. I found myself enjoying it way more than I did Kills, so
well, there we go. There we go. I told you we'd go long
I
for
know.
our Halloween discussion. There's too much just nonsense to talk about with that, but let's get on, Janine, to a
Okay,
little bit of a let's talk because we
alright.
do have um, one nice conversation now that we did want to start talking about, didn't we? Which
Yes.
was,
Well,
um,
I'm
sorry,
trying no, I'm trying to, keep things spooky around here. This is our
yes.
favorite time of year. So I was just thinking about this. I had made a TikTok about this, I think last year, just really thinking about horror performances and all the great horror we're getting this year. and,
Not
how
necessarily Halloween Ends.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but just we're getting an abundance of horror films,
We
and
are.
they're all pretty fun, different, interesting, have something to say, fun. And uh, a lot of horror gets overlooked, at our bigger awards ceremonies.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I thought it would be fun for us to share a couple of our Oscar-worthy horror performances.
Yes, this is interesting.
Yes.
I've got one reasonably recent one and one not so reasonably recent one.
Okay.
So I'm quite interested about this because it is true. It is true. Horror and weirdly weird genre films do get overlooked and have
Snubbed and
historically got
yeah.
overlooked,
Mhm.
which is unfortunate given that some of the most interesting performances tend to come from these type of movies because they allow people to do pretty crazy things sometimes.
Yes. I know you had mentioned you had a bit of an honorable mention. Um,
Do I have an honorable mention? I don't
I
think I do have an
I
honorable
thought I
mention.
thought you said there was somebody you wanted to kind of talk about a little bit, but maybe I was wrong.
Maybe this is one of my choices. Maybe this is actually one of my choices. I don't know. Who were you thinking?
Um, I don't remember, but I thought I remember we were sharing who we were gonna discuss, and
We
you
were.
you said you were briefly going to mention somebody else, but
I
maybe
maybe
I was
this was actually
wrong.
one of my choices, and you'll find out.
Maybe.
I don't know. We have 2. We have 2 each.
Yes.
I know this. Janine, do you want to mention one of yours first? Do you want to
Oh,
bring up one of
yes.
yours first?
You said you were also gonna talk about Gregory Peck in The Omen.
Yes, no, Gregory Peck is one of my choices.
Oh,
That's what I mean.
okay.
That's one of my 2 choices.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow. Um, I was gonna talk about Toni Collette in
Oh, yes,
Hereditary.
okay.
I think this is definitely one person who very much everyone kind of agrees this should have been nominated for something.
Yeah,
This was an insane performance. It was a maddening performance, particularly the dinner scene when she's, screaming at her son who has just this blasé attitude about, accidentally killing his little sister, and she's trying. She's trying to, like, be okay with that. She's trying not to hate him for doing this and for being so irresponsible and reckless and not seemingly not caring. She's still trying to love him, but she can't. And so just that scene where she's just shouting at him, screaming at him. Um this So many just dark scenes where she has to kind of go all over the place. She has to be sad. She has to kind of try to be positive. She has to be showing one emotion, but we have to know that she's feeling something underneath.
yeah.
To have to portray all these layers in this insane story. Um, I just don't know how she just was not recognized for that. I mean, she did way less in The Sixth Sense and got a Best Supporting Actress nomination. I mean, that scene in the car, that's like my favorite scene in that movie, where she's sitting with him and she's talking to Cole and he's finally telling her the truth about what's going on with
Yeah.
him. That's an amazing scene. But literally, that little scene got nominated, and every insane thing she had to do in this movie did not get one lick of recognition. It's just so frustrating.
I think an unfortunate thing with it is that it would have had to be for lead, and
Yeah.
we know what, the Oscars kind of campaigns are like. They
Yeah.
like to kind of fudge people's categories sometimes to try and get them a win because leads are always tough to break into. Lead actor awards nominations because
Yeah.
there's only 5. Is there still only
Yeah.
5?
Mhm.
It's not like Best Picture where you can go up to 10 now. There's
Yeah.
still only 5, which is small.
Yeah.
Is a very, very, very small. And
Yeah.
because we usually focus on
The
dramatic
dramas. Yeah.
fare,
Mhm.
biopic fare, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, your Oscar baity kind of things.
Unfortunately, Toni Collette wasn't recognised by the major
Yeah.
awards. that year, and 100% she should have been. She put everything into that.
Okay.
She was
Mhm.
insanely good
Yes,
in
yes.
Hereditary. The perfect modern breakdown of a family
Yeah.
movie. It's the saddest movie, but the most crazy, crazy movie, crazy horror movie.
Yeah.
And Toni Collette is just
Brilliant,
unbelievable.
brilliant. This descent into madness kind of that's something that happens a lot in horror, but
One
you
of the great
really have to.
screaming performances.
Yes, but yeah, she was having to do a lot. She was having to carry a lot. She was having to, like I said, play a face for, the other characters in the film, but also show us, the audience, that she was feeling something completely different underneath,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and she was able to do that brilliantly. So really just a bummer that like that was not recognized.
Well, speaking of playing different faces, another a fairly recent one that I would genuinely like to bring up because I really do think this showed just her great talent is Lupita Nyong'o in Us. Because
Yes, yes.
while I don't think people generally liked Us as much as they liked Get Out from Jordan Peele, I really like Us. I think Us is a great movie. I think Us is a very,
Yes.
very
Mhm.
interesting movie.
And
And
it's
I think
definitely more horror than Get Out was.
it kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think performance wise, there's been 3 Jordan Peele movies now. Ain't nobody gives a better performance in those movies than Lupita Nyong'o
She's
does
playing 2 characters, that voice she
in
has to
this.
put on, you know
But her as her actual human character in that movie, she's she's powerful. She's a very maternal kind of
Yeah, she's a leader.
figure. She's a
Yeah.
leader, and she's a survivor of the
Mhm.
events in that movie. She's kind of retrospective or introspective. I mean, she's kind of quietly determined, which is
Yes.
what I like about
But
her.
also
Anyway, it's quite similar to her in that movie, Little Monsters,
yes.
that
I love that
zombie
movie.
Australian movie
Yeah, mhm.
that's really quite good. It's quite similar to that, really. So she's great as that anyway. But then she's also the doppelganger, who I think
Yes.
is the doppelganger just called Red or something like that.
Well, she's Adelaide, and yes, the real human version of her is Red.
Oh, I see. Is it the opposite way around?
Yes, so Red, the one that's kind of building this movement because she has been, s you know, her life
Oh,
has been
yes. Yeah,
stolen,
because
is
Us
Red.
was yes, that's right.
Yes. So
She
also
was
to
taken in
just
through the mirror, wasn't she? And it's all that switchy business.
yes, and so and just to play that basically our kind of villain character is the one we're sitting with most of this movie, and to make that character,
Yeah,
be hiding the secret and us really liking this character, not knowing kind of the sinister nature of how she even came to be.
yeah.
Um,
It's true.
the
It's
way
true.
she plays that really is really what really great because we see her as this protective mother with her family. She's a good person. We see all of this, and then this other side, you know, the
Well,
fact that she has to kind of play a good guy and a bad guy, but they're opposite, but she plays them opposite, you
she
know?
plays them opposite to the opposite they're actually supposed to be.
Yes.
It's really, really
Yeah.
cool. Um, but when she is the doppelganger, the one with the voice, not only does she have to put on that voice, which is absolutely Lupita Nyong'o doing that,
Doing it, yeah.
and it's just insane because she has a I think this is where things like someone's natural face comes into play as well, because she's able to just be she's got a little bit of a lazy eye, Lupita Nyong'o, and it works for her really, really well to
Yes.
kind of creep us out in this movie. Because when she's just wide-eyed staring at you,
Yes, and
doing
having a
that
tear
voice,
single tears just come down with that face as well.
it's just deeply, deeply unsettling because she's
Yes.
just so static, so intimidating, so kind of commandeering,
Yeah.
and absolutely, unabashedly terrifying
Yes, and to
as
have this
that
small
doppelganger.
woman be this kind of leader kind of figure, not just
Yeah,
in on the family side of Adelaide, but also on the, underground side as Red.
yeah, it's so unbelievably impressive. It's the range of Lupita Nyong'o, and because Lupita Nyong'o doesn't do that many movies,
Yeah,
it's even more impressive that when she does, she's just able to deliver consistently and
yeah,
deliver so well in that movie. It is one of the great recent horror performances. It's I think Tony Collette is amazing in Hereditary. She's doing one thing. It's a great version of that thing. It's an
yeah.
unbelievable version of that thing. It's a phenomenal performance and absolutely deserved awards. But Lupita's doing
Peter's doing
two
double
things
time. Yeah.
in the same movie
Yeah,
that are completely opposite, completely believable, and completely wonderful. And it speaks to a lot of what I like about acting, whereas you're just able to use your own self
yeah,
and the way you kind of look to your performance's betterment. Because I do think Lupita is able to just widen her eyes really creepily.
yeah.
um, because considering that when she smiles, she can light up a room, but when she doesn't, she can
And she just
terrify
has
you.
that face and has those eyes bugged out. Yeah.
Is is impressive. It's
Yes.
naturally impressive, but it is impressive. I,
Yes.
I I love her in that movie, and I consistently wish she did more movies,
Yeah.
but she picks them very precisely, and
She
you've got to
does.
love her for doing that.
Yes. Great, great performance in Us. My second pick. Well, you talked about Lupita having to do two things.
Yes. Oh yes.
This person had to do several things, and I'm talking
Several.
about James McAvoy in Split.
Yes.
Um, Great performance from him. Really portraying all these different personalities and characters to the point where, there's one scene where you think a different character has come in, but it's just him.
Yeah.
Um, the way he kind of is able to switch in between these characters and have them have these conversations, and it's crazy. And yes, I've heard some things from the DID community in terms of like just this movie and movies in general depicting DID and this kind of villainous nature of it.
Yes.
But aside from kind of the content of the film, um you can't deny what he's doing as an actor,
No,
you
because
know?
it's seamlessly moving from throughout many different styles of performance
Yes.
in the same role, and that's what's impressive about it. You think about the depiction of the condition is totally separate.
Yeah.
The depiction of the condition is quite negative.
Yeah.
It is, but the performance of that character is incredible.
Yes, he makes it completely believable that he is all of these different people. Like, he is able to kind of just with how he's holding himself, how he carries himself, how he changes his voice. You are gaining a sense of the personality of each one of these characters.
Yeah,
Um, how he sits, how he holds his hands, like he's so aware of every part of his body when he's a different person, and just how he was able to just kind of pull it off so seamlessly. I definitely wish he would have gotten more recognition just for that performance because he's doing a lot.
he
Um,
is.
and, you know, also to kind of switch back even to the original Kevin character, this kind of vulnerable,
Yeah,
and you like him, and you hate other personalities, and you love Hedwig, you know, and you hate Patricia, and like, all these different characters. It's one person doing this, and he's able to make you feel different things about these different identities that he is putting on. It's just crazy how he's able to kind of really embody each one of these personalities and really kind of make you see that side of them and see the personality of them and how he carries himself when he's Patricia. He's very kind of upright and straight and proper and um it was such a great performance. So again, with Tony Collette, I'm just so bummed that like that just did not get more because it was horror. So, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, you feel like those years because obviously Hereditary was 2017, Ozzy's 19, I think Split was 16.
16, I think.
The late 2010s were not good for who was getting acting nominations.
Yeah.
They weren't. They were very, very much
The
focused
formulaic.
on your Oscar typical movies. They
Yeah.
were who was getting acting nominations. I think who won the best pictures were often interesting. You got The Shape of Water winning best picture, you got Parasite winning best picture.
Yeah.
Yes, we like that. But acting wise, it was weird who was getting looked at above others. And when you consider the range and the competence that McAvoy, that Tony Collette, that Lupita Nyong'o put into those performances,
Yeah.
you can only determine that they weren't recognized simply because of the movie they were in,
Yeah.
not because of the
Had
performances.
that been in any had that been in a drama, had it not been in this
Yeah.
kind of horror umbrella, you
And
know.
when you look at performances, there should be no difference. You should
No,
not
it should just
compare
be what is this
movie to
person
movie.
doing in this role? What are they able to make me feel? What are they able to convey with this character? How are they able to transform themselves into something completely different than who we kind of know them to be in actual life? Like,
Yeah.
how do they transcend into these characters and,
Even when
really just do
McAvoy's
their
the
job?
beast, especially
Yes.
when McAvoy's the beast, it's
Yeah.
it's just it's animalistic, it's ridiculous, it's
Yeah.
insane. But yeah, you can only determine that it's down to that,
Yeah.
which
Such a
is kind
bummer.
of strangely where my second choice comes in, which is Gregory Peck
Yes, well,
in
that's
The
why I got a
Omen.
little bit confused because, I had a we were kinda talking about, um, Florence Pugh, and I know you love Midsummer, and that
I
performance is
do, look, I
definitely
do, I do, I do, I
on
do, I do.
that was definitely circling my list as another performance that I think should have gotten some recognition,
I
her
just
in
wanted
Midsummer.
I wanted to not have everything in the same era of
Ah,
movies.
okay,
That's all.
fair. You always
Because
have to,
yes,
go back
absolutely.
to your classics era, of course.
Florence Pugh is phenomenal in Midsummer, but Florence Pugh is also phenomenal in
And
everything.
everything. She has not had one bad performance
Literally
in
everything.
her short but wonderful career.
Um, but Midsummer is obviously great. I mean, you could have gone for Pattinson in The Lighthouse, but is The Lighthouse even a horror movie?
I mean,
You
it's
don't
under
know.
that umbrella a little bit, I think, yeah.
I always ask that question: is The Lighthouse actually a horror movie, or is it just a weird trip? Because it's kind of just a weird trip.
True. Yeah.
But The Omen's certainly a horror movie.
Yes.
And Gregory Peck, I picked this one not only because I think 70s horror, and in the 70s, it was actually quite well recognized as being a really horror of this kind. The Exorcist style, the Omen style,
Yeah.
your bigger budgeted, bigger
70.
starred
Yeah.
70s horror. It had real backing behind it, had a real mostly came from novels, but had real kind of cultural mass appeal
Peel
to it.
Yeah.
And the awards, the Oscars, noticed this a lot of the time. Actually, in 1976 or in 1977, four movies from 1976, which is obviously the same year as The Omen, Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie were nominated for
Yes,
Carrie,
for Carrie. Yes.
both of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So why wasn't Gregory Peck? Yes, okay. He's going up against two people from Network, the winner, Peter Finch and William Hope.
Yeah.
Okay. We
Yeah.
accept those two being in there. pretty great, pretty good movie. He's going up against De Niro in Taxi Driver.
Oh,
Okay,
rough.
fair enough. He's going up against Stallone in Rocky.
Oh, poor
Okay,
guy.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But he's also going up against Giancarlo Giannini, who is that one dude from Casino Royale, that Italian dude
Mhm.
with the who I don't know, in a movie that I've actually now forgotten the name of. It's a movie that I've never seen. He might be great in that movie. He might be great in that movie, but I just can't help thinking, well, why if Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie are on your women
Yes.
for both categories, why
Why
can't
was not
Gregory
yeah.
Peck can't take over that space? I understand it's probably a very, very tough category to get into that particular year.
Yeah,
I would also
but like
question,
you
do
said,
two people from Network really need to be in there? Can we not have a bit of spread?
yeah, I mean and I mean, like you said, like, it's a bigger budgeted, kind of higher scale, horror
And it's an
film.
incredible movie, and what Gregory Peck's
Yes.
actually doing in The Omen, that that was me just talking about kind of Oscar marketing strategies and things like that, and
Yes.
campaign strategies, but what Gregory Peck's actually doing in The Omen is giving one of the great mystery horror performances, giving one of the great kind of
And
reluctant hero horror performances in terms
yes,
of just he doesn't wanna believe any of it's true, but he realizes that he just
that it
kinda
is, and he
has to
can't fight
follow
it.
it all up, and he
And, I
has
mean
to take it down.
yes, and it's very much like and he was going through things in his own life that
He
he
was.
you could feel that he was kind of putting that into this role.
It's a
And,
very, very
you know
personal
yeah,
performance.
mhm,
It's a very emotionally
yeah,
heavy performance, and it's a performance with an awful lot of heart in it. I think we look at older Gregory Peck and we see the kind of emotional reservedness of him. I
yeah,
think that's just it's more so in as he gets slightly older in the 70s, he's actually able to open his heart more, be slightly less reserved and really kind of
gonna go
break
for it.
down sometimes in The
Yeah,
Omen
mhm,
in
yeah,
just a how is this isn't my son, this isn't my just really give
yes.
it
What
just,
did I
oh,
do?
this is
And this
heavy.
guilt for bringing this into,
An awful lot
his
of guilt.
life, and yeah, mhm.
But he's constantly going about the movie just with his furrowed eyebrows, just like,
How
"Oh,
is this
I'm
happening? What did I
confused."
do? What is going on? I can't believe this. I don't wanna believe this. Yeah,
Trying to make everything okay,
yeah,
and it's brilliant.
so
It's
good.
a massive movie, it's a
Mhm.
big actor, it's a brilliant performance from a big actor in a year that you recognized horror performances in your acting categories, but couldn't find room for Gregory Peck, but you found room for 2 people from
Mm,
Network in 5 spots.
yeah.
What's that about? I know Network's great. Sure, Network's great, but come on. I know it's Stallone and De Niro and William
Yeah.
Holden and Peter Finch. I know that. But how good was Giancarlo Giannini must have been in that one movie that I now feel like I have to watch?
I know,
How
if it
good
picked
must he
out,
have been?
yeah.
He must be great
He must have
in
been
that. He must
amazing.
be great in that
Yeah.
one movie. And fair play to him if he was. Fair play to him for getting the Oscar nomination. I don't hate that guy at all.
But,
I think
yeah,
he's great from what I've seen him in. I just, he notably, when I was looking at the
just
nominees that year, he notably
just
just like, why is he in there compared to all
yeah, he
these
just
other guys?
took a spot from a very worthy
But
performance.
maybe that's just my ignorance, Janine. Maybe that is just my
Maybe,
ignorance.
maybe,
But yes,
perhaps.
Gregory Peck, definitely.
Yes, but so many great
Oh,
horror
there's an
performances that
awful
just
lot.
get
You could
overlooked,
go
but,
you could go even further back to Karloff and things like that,
yes,
but
yeah, I mean,
you would have never
I
got
would
them.
have I would have given one to Dwayne Jones as well, like,
To Dwayne Jones, you would have never got them so old. You would have
no,
never got them. Horror was
no,
the B
B
pictures.
list for sure.
They were.
And
They
and
were
now we're getting
great,
this
but they were.
epic year of horror right now, and it's just crazy. I
You
hope
could
hopefully that'll turn around and we'll get more recognition,
go for our
you know
favorite Claude Rains. You miserable man.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
Why not? But no, there's a ridiculous. I mean, Vincent Price would have never won an Oscar, even though he's phenomenal in all his horror movies, just because of the movies they are.
Yeah,
The reason I think
it's
Gregory
not
Peck should have won is because of the
award fair.
movie it is and the
Yes, it's
performance.
a great film, it's a high caliber, mass,
It's a
appeal type
massive,
film.
massive movie. It's one of the highest
Yes,
grossing movies of 76.
exactly. Yes.
It's mad to me.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. Anyway, Janine, a little bit of a let's talk, and we finish
Yeah.
with a fun and games. It's robot based in honor of this Megan trailer.
Yes.
I think we have slightly different things each, don't we, today
Yes.
for fun and games. I have come up with descriptions of 5 robot movies. Robot slash cyborg slash android slash all those kind of things. Movies. I've come up with 5 descriptions of the movies. Janine is going to guess which movie I'm going on about. Janine,
Yes.
what have you done for me?
I have 5 descriptions of cyborgs, androids, robots in film, and you have to guess which one I'm talking about.
Yes, I'm guessing the robot itself.
Yes.
Janine's guessing the movie. Well,
Yes.
I suppose you want to go first, don't you?
As per usual,
Okay.
yes.
It's Germany. It's a bit dystopian. It's nice to know that that trope has been around since the very beginning of robot movies. The robot here is quite pretty, but the director's definitely not, even if he is one of my favourite old directors. What is the movie?
What? Germany.
These are the. I am not simply reading plot synopses. I have come
I
up with my
know.
own
I know
descriptions
you
here.
have. Germany.
I will read it again. It's Germany. It's a bit dystopian. It's nice to know that that trope has been around since the very beginning of robot movies. The robot here is quite pretty, but the director's definitely not, even if he is one of my favourite old directors.
Oh my gosh. Is it that very, very old movie? That very early movie that has that lady robot in it and it's very old and I can't remember the name of the
Possibly.
movie? Oh my gosh, what is the name of that movie?
Ooh.
I
I'll be honest with you. I think you've probably got it, but I'm going
I
to
kn-
need the name.
I know.
You're not getting the point unless you name the
I
movie.
know. It's like why am I thinking like day, tomorrow, something? Like I don't know. Uh, I know what it is. And I can picture the visuals from that film. I've never seen it, but I can picture it.
I'm going to need the name of the
Okay.
movie, Janine, I'm
Yes.
afraid.
No, it's not
No,
coming to me, and
we don't
that'll
have the
take too much
name.
time, to think
Okay,
about it.
okay. Yes, we were looking for Metropolis. We were
Metropolis,
looking for
yes.
Metropolis because
I'm
it's
like, it's a
Germany,
one-name title, yes. I'm
and
picturing the robot.
It's Fritz
Yes,
Lang's
Fritz
Metropolis,
Lang,
and Fritz
mhm.
Lang is not a good-looking man. Janine,
No,
Fritz Lang
I
is
don't think
not
I know
is
what
not
Fritz
very
Lang looks
attractive.
like.
He's not very attractive at all. That was
Oh,
just my little joke about
so
Fritz
mean.
Lang's looks.
For you
It
to
was a bit
throw a
mean.
poor dig at Fritz Lang.
It was a
Damn
bit
it.
mean, yes.
Damn it. I could picture all the visuals, like
Yes,
the
yeah.
very much futuristic Art
No,
Deco.
yes.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. Well, I didn't give my robot's gender, so you're just gonna have to.
No.
Okay. All right. Its voice is dialed in. It's a true protector and the mellow heart of its team.
Mellow heart of its team voice is dialed in. Dialed in. Ooh.
Mhm.
And it's a true protector.
Yes.
A true protector. The mellow heart. A heartwarming robot. Robot that's central to a group of people. And Protective robot. Dialed in. Voice is dialed in. That's what's throwing me off. I don't get the voice that's dialed in.
I thought that would be like the strongest clue.
Yeah, but I think that's probably because I probably don't know. Do I know the movie? You'd hope I would. Maybe you'd hope I
I
would know
mean,
the
you'd
movie.
be just generally aware of the
Oh,
movie
I see. Oh, oh,
or movies.
voice is dialed in. Yeah, that part is throwing me off because I'm thinking like protector, heart of a group. I'm thinking vision,
That is incorrect.
but dialed in. Yeah, what's that?
A bumblebee. He
Bumblebee.
uses the
Okay,
radio to speak because he doesn't
no
have a
idea. Didn't
voice.
know that. Didn't
See?
know that. Never seen it. Never seen those movies. Okay, fair enough.
Wow.
Did not know
Okay.
that. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the alien is actually the most reasonable and wisest character in this movie. He's teaching humanity a lesson. The robot has laser eyes. He's not afraid to use them and seems to be everything his alien master is not. It's a moral sci-fi classic with a rather ominous title.
Well,
I think my movie descriptions are way better. I think they should hire me to do marketing for movies rather
oh
than
my
stupid just
gosh.
basic synopses. And if you're going to make 70s movie trailers, hire me to do the voice, please.
I don't read it one
The,
more time.
the alien is actually the most reasonable and wisest character in
Is
this
this
movie. He's teaching humanity a lesson. The robot has laser eyes, is not afraid to use them, and seems to be everything his alien master is not.
I don't
A
am I
moral
thinking of the right
sci-fi
movie?
classic with a rather ominous title.
Is it The Day the Earth Stood Still?
It is the day the earth stood still. Yes.
I've
I
never
was
seen
going to
it.
say,
I've only seen the remake with Keanu Reeves as the
oh dear.
alien.
I was going to say the robot looks really quite basic because he
Oh,
Gort in
yes.
Day the Earth Stood Still. He's just the
Yeah.
most basic looking
Simplistic
robot
looking
possible.
thing.
Um,
Yes.
but yes, it's the Day the Earth Stood Still.
All right. Um, it's a fan of Guns and Roses. It's always learning, and it's old, not obsolete.
Oh God. Oh, I must know this. I recognise that phrase. Fan of Guns and Roses. Old, not obsolete. And what's the middle part?
It's always learning.
Always learning. Oh, I do recognise that last idea. Old, not obsolete. Oh God. Guns and Roses. Guns and Roses. Robot.
This was like my easiest one.
Oh, I'm not good at them. I don't. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Really?
I'm gonna kick myself. I think I'm gonna kick myself. Is he? Is he?
Right behind me.
Is
It's
he?
the T800.
Is he a fan of Guns? When's he a fan of Guns and Roses?
T2 Judgment Day, when he's fighting the other one in the hallway, he pulls a gun out of a thing of
Oh, for
roses,
God's
and then
sake!
they
You're
play
so
a Guns N' Roses song.
annoyingly specific with your riddle-based
I thought
clues.
that was gonna give it away, and he's always learning because that whole movie, uh, John's trying to teach him like how to smile and how to do all this stuff and say all these
You focus
lines.
too much on Terminator 2. If you'd have
And he
described
says, "I'm
something from The
old, not
Terminator,
obsolete."
See, that's where I recognised it from. But if if you'd have focused on the Terminator, I might have actually gotten it.
You know that's my
Oh,
birthday
annoying.
movie.
I know.
Of
I'm
course I
well
picked
aware.
Judgment Day.
I'm well
What?
aware.
I really thought that Guns N' Roses would give it away because that was like a popular scene where he pulls the gun out of the roses and then they're playing Guns N'
You know
Roses.
full well I have seen Terminator 2 once.
I thought you'd seen it more than that.
And I like the Terminator. I have now seen
I
that
know.
more than once.
I know you love the Terminator.
So, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Are they robots? Are they cowboys? Are they real? Is this a theme park? Why is the lead this bald?
A Westworld.
It's Westworld. It's definitely Westworld.
Why do you have to make fun of everyone's looks? Leave poor Yul Brynner alone.
Yul Brynner's a great bald man, but he's incredibly bald.
He's a great bald man, but he's incredibly bald.
He is incredibly bald. I've never seen a bolder person.
Oh my gosh, it's so terrible.
Polish
All
Yul
right.
Brynner's head. Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Okay. It's been isolated. It's underestimated and far more deceptive than a general and a commander could imagine.
See, you know what I don't like, Jeannine, is when
What?
you use riddles in your things
not a
that I don't
riddle.
get. It is a riddle.
It's not a riddle.
General and command. Like, I'm just going to be thinking about that now. General who? General who?
Exactly.
Commander who? It's a what? Say it again.
When I say it's, I'm talking about the robot cyborg.
Yes,
whatever.
okay.
It's been isolated. It's underestimated and far more deceptive than a general and a commander could imagine.
Right, so there's a general and a commander that fight this robot. They underestimate the robot, and the robot's quite clever, basically.
But they're not necessarily those things in this movie. You just know them as these
Oh,
things.
see, this is what annoys me. I can't think like that. It doesn't make any sense to me, Jeannine.
I thought it would be easy.
It's
I thought
not.
that
It's
would-
so much
I
more
thought that would make
difficult
it
when
easier.
you say things like that. It's so much more difficult. I can't contextualize between three different things.
You know them well as that in something else.
God.
That's why I did my quotes.
Oh. Did you say it was frozen?
Isolated.
Isolated. That's why I was thinking
And
of ice.
underestimated.
Isolated and underestimated. A robot.
And far more deceptive.
A robot. Isolated and underestimated. A robot that's deceptive. Comes up against people that have played a general and a commander. Who's played a general and a commander? So many people have played generals and commanders.
In the same franchise.
Oh, in the same thing.
Yes.
General and general and commander. General and commander. I'm thinking Star Wars. Someone from Star Wars. Underestimated. Is it Blade Runner?
Is that your final answer?
I was thinking Star Wars, so I immediately went to Harrison Ford. And then I went to Blade Runner. It's not Blade Runner.
That's your answer?
Yes.
No, it's not Blade Runner.
No, I didn't think it was.
It was
That's an
Ava.
isolated robot. It's not
Ava from Ex Machina.
Oh, fine, okay.
Because you have General Hux and Commander Poe Dameron. So you were there. When you said Star Wars, I'm like, he's got it.
Oh, for God's sake.
It's literally 3 actors in that whole movie.
I'm aware there's 3 actors in that movie. I am well aware. I'm not very good at this. Right.
Do I need to give you genders? Will that help you?
No, no, you just need to not do weird riddle things and talk about the actual movies themselves and not things that
Oh,
other movies were.
I'm
It's
describing
very
the
clever.
robot.
It's like a cryptic crossword, and I'm not very good at those. Rather than
Okay.
just a trivia
Well,
crossword. I like
yours.
trivia crosswords that just have a straightforward question and answer.
Okay. Well, I don't know how else to do these
No, I know
character
that, and I appreciate
descriptions.
that. I do appreciate that.
Trying to give it some flair. Okay.
It's very This is why I do mine like this, because I kind of do them in like weird me speaking
Yes.
tones. Well, because he's such a genius, the supposed leader of this fairly impressive group creates a robot by mistake. The robot speaks quite a lot and then really doesn't like its creator in the end. A second robot is then created who is objectively way more powerful and kind of nicer as well. This second robot, helps our group defeat the first robot, who's still speaking a lot at this time, but not before destroying a fictional Eastern European country.
What?
I was quite pleased with how vague this one was.
It was very vague.
Yes. I'm feeling quite satisfied with
Yes.
myself right now.
Yes, I think you
Good for
are.
Morgan. Good for me. Would you like me to read it again?
Yes, read it again.
Well, because he's such a genius, the supposed leader of this fairly impressive group creates a robot by mistake. The robot speaks quite a lot and ends up not really liking its creator. A second robot is then created who is objectively way more powerful and kind of nicer. That second robot helps our group defeat the first robot, who's still speaking quite a lot, but not before destroying a fictional Eastern European country. Oh,
Yeah, no, I don't know. Uh, I don't know. War games? I don't know.
and I will take War Games as your final answer. That
Yeah.
was Avengers Age of Ultron.
What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
This
thought
one's
that was a
nicer.
very good description of
That was a
Avengers Age
pretty
of Ultron.
now that I put it together.
Thank
If
you.
you had
Thank
thrown a
you.
Pinocchio reference in there, I would have gotten
No, we with no strings on me. No strings on me.
it. All right. Okay. It loves pop culture, but doesn't really understand it. It falls in love and saves what's left of the world.
Wally.
That is correct.
Yes. Success. That's exactly what Wally does.
Yes.
You're going to get the last one, Janine. It's very easy.
Okay.
This was my easy one. Well, the Westworld one was quite easy. I just wanted to kind of shout questions. But this one's quite easy one. Janine, your birthday is just like the most important day ever in this entire story.
Oh, is that the description? Uh Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yes, I would have accepted just Terminator. Yes.
All right. I'm doing so good. Final one. It's
Can I make it
difficult.
Can I make it respectable with a 3-2 loss rather than a 3-1
Yes,
loss?
perhaps. It's difficult to trust because of a previous betrayal,
Oh.
but it gets torn apart when it proves its loyalty.
Ooh. Trust. Difficult to trust. Previous betrayal. Torn apart. Torn apart when it proves its loyalty.
Yes.
Ooh. Torn apart. Torn
Torn like in
apart.
half.
Yeah. Ooh. I actually do think, and maybe this is because you briefly mentioned this movie before, I think that's I, Robot, isn't it? Is that
uh,
not the plot of I, Robot?
that is not the plot of iRobot.
Is that not?
Is that your final answer?
Yes, I thought that was Sonny from I,
Mm,
Robot.
no. It is Bishop from Aliens.
Oh, okay. It's similar to the plot of I, Robot.
What?
I, Robot, Will Smith gets betrayed by a robot. He doesn't like robots. One robot has to prove his loyalty and then I'm pretty sure he gets torn in half at the end of the movie.
He doesn't get betrayed by robots.
He doesn't like robots at the
He
beginning of
doesn't
that
like he
movie
doesn't like robots, but he
because I
doesn't
think
get.
because I think something happened. I think
Yes,
it was
something happened. A mother or a guy and his daughter drowned, and the robot
yes,
didn't save them because the
yes. So he's
probability was.
betrayed by a robot.
Yes,
I
but
think
Ash betrays
he does.
them.
Yes, he does.
Yes, so then yeah, she does not trust cyborgs until he steps in and tries to help and gets ripped in
Yes,
half by
yes,
the
yes, yes. I
alien.
still think it's the exact same plot as iRobot, but okay.
Yeah, I win.
Of
That's all that
course you
matters.
do. Of course you do. Fun game. Fun robot
I'm
game. I
sorry,
like that.
my descriptions were terrible.
No, the descriptions aren't terrible. They just require somebody with a better brain than me. They're really not. They're really clever. They're just not.
They're too clever. I'm sorry.
Yes. That's the problem.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
Janine. Very busy show today.
Yes, so
Very,
many
very busy
things we
show.
wanted to talk about.
Enormously fun show, as always. Great time on Monday Madness. Janine, it's not the only show on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed, though, is it? Nor is it the only thing on this YouTube channel.
No, of course, we have Morgan Hasn't Seen every Wednesday, where I force you to watch things you haven't seen. We've had fun talking the Purge films, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
you're not hating them too bad. I know you
Not
kind of
too
no,
not
you're
too
kind of
bad.
enjoying them a little bit. But also on this very YouTube channel, we have some fun things you can check out. We have movie reviews. We have Morgan's awesome movie collection videos. We
Yes.
do watch alongs, live discussions, all kinds of stuff. So check it out right here on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. And of course, back going to the podcast feed, we also have It's a Wonderful Podcast every Friday, where we talk classic films. We give love to those old movies, as we discussed. We've covered a ton of Angela Lansbury movies on the podcast. And yeah, we love giving love to the older films.
We
So,
certainly do. And yeah, help celebrate Angela Lansbury even further this coming Friday
yes.
with the picture of Dorian Gray that was recorded before she passed away. So we don't mention it on the show, obviously,
Yeah.
because why would we? That would be really creepy.
Yeah. Can't see the future.
That would be sinister. And we wouldn't like being sinister,
Oh,
would we? No,
no.
we would not. But we show a hell of a lot of love to her in that movie. We certainly do. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have you covered on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, and everywhere else. Subscribe, ding your notification bells on this YouTube channel if you are watching here on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. Monday Madness for all the fun stuff Janine has just mentioned. A whole bunch of stuff we have on this channel. You can also support us on Patreon or by donating if you are feeling particularly generous. Patreon.com/It's a Wonderful One. Find the tier that's right for you. There are links in the description below. You can also see it scrolling down at the bottom of the screen if you are watching, as well as our social medias. You can find the show on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on Twitter at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in the because, Janine.
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at the Purple Don. All your robotic cyborgness is where.
You can find me at Janine Devine _ on Twitter, Janine Devine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can find that at our Teespring shop. Just search Teespring, It's Wonderful Podcast on teespring.com, or you see it scrolling below, see it in the description. We have some really fun designs over there, all the logos for all of our shows, including some fun Stranger Things designs. So please check it out there. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
I mean, you are a robot yourself, no? You
I
are the
am
machine.
the machine, as you can
So
see behind me.
I think, I mean, we've only talked a little bit about robots. It's mainly been about horror things, but I don't think an impression of Michael Myers would be particularly useful to close out the
I
show.
mean, it would just
So
be some heavy breathing.
that would creep people out, Janine. That would do one of two things. That would creep people out, or really, really not creep people out. Which
Oh, God.
we don't want either.
Yeah, we
one
don't
of
want
them,
either.
really.
No,
We don't
not
want
really.
either one of them.
No, I don't think so.
Robot voice, please, Janine.
3, 2, 1.
Bye. Yes. Boom.